Hello everyone, welcome to the fastest way to a million gold, part 11. It is the 27th of spring and I have some good information that tells me the mushroom level is on floor 91 in the mines today. So that's where I'm headed as soon as all my furnaces are going. But of course, I'm going to pick some mushrooms along the way. These aren't exactly the good kind, but they give me some very necessary energy. I'm simply going to spend this day gathering mushrooms from the mine. Should be worth 25 to 30,000 gold depending on how efficiently I do it. And then I think tomorrow I'm going to spend smelting ore as much as I can and then just see how many sprinklers I'm left with, and that's simply going to be how many blueberries I can have. Although I can still smelt ore into bars and create sprinklers as I'm planting the blueberries themselves, so I might be closer than I think in the end. Anyways, thanks to the magic of editing and stuff, mushrooms. I maybe got a little too excited about the mushrooms here and lost a bunch of health. I'm curious about the size of this floor, being that it's quite large. Obviously it can spawn more rocks and things at one time, if it therefore has the potential to spawn more mushrooms than some of the other floors, because I seem to be finding a particular lot on this floor. So my overall strategy, as I said earlier, is pretty straightforward at this point. I'm simply going to harvest mushrooms today, spend tomorrow smelting, maybe doing a bit more land clearing, and then starting to set up my sprinklers, and just simply put all my effort into creating as many sprinklers as I can until I run out of time for blueberries. Blueberries are still my priority, but throughout summer I can of course plant other crops to make up the difference, because blueberries aren't the only thing that's worth money on my way to 1 million gold. One of the definite downsides to a floor this big is that once you get to the end and collect all the mushrooms, you have to run all the way back, and that's kind of a waste of time. I smashed the occasional rock on the way back in hopes of finding a ladder. So far I have not had any luck though. I haven't looked at the numbers yet for the value of crops in summer, but I suspect blueberries might still be the most valuable thing to grow even if you start them a little later into summer and don't get the maximum amount of harvests, but that's something I'm going to look into. Obviously if I need to, I'll plant something else. Other plants are still quite valuable. It doesn't really have to be blueberries. But basically whatever crop I do end up picking alongside blueberries is simply going to be for as many sprinklers as I have, because I just really don't feel like watering things every day. I do not enjoy that, so I'm not going to do it. If I have to make up the money by other means, I will. Every time I try and talk today, it seems I get attacked by monsters, and that makes me look really stupid. Or maybe I just really am stupid. Another thing I would do if I was to do this all again is upgrade my hoe at some point throughout this, and maybe still even the watering can. But the hoe at the very least, just to save a little bit of time and energy when I first go to plant all my blueberries. That's going to be a time-consuming process in itself. It would take very little effort throughout this to smelt 5 copper bars and then go to the blacksmith and lose the hoe for 2 days. Now that I have spent a day farming this level again and again, I realize that smaller floors are actually better for mushrooms, because I don't think there's necessarily more mushrooms that spawn in this big level. There's just a lot more running involved, which is counterproductive. But then again, counterproductivity seems to be my thing these days. This floor has actually been not that great considering it was a mushroom level. It was a lot of running and there were so many enemies. It really made it quite difficult and quite annoying to get those mushrooms. I feel like I didn't get nearly as many as I did last time. I guess I'll find out once I sell them all. So that's simply what I'm going to do. I'm just going to turn my furnaces over for more iron and then go to bed. Okay, let's look at the numbers of this moderately successful day. Foraging leveled up, not a big deal. Extra health from level 3 combat, sure, why not? And only 17,000 gold from the mushrooms. That's 10,000 less than last time. Like I said, that floor just wasn't as good as the other ones. So here we are on the final day of spring. Nowhere near as prepared as I wanted to be, but that is pretty typical for me these days, so we'll just roll with it and see what happens. I don't currently know why I'm moving all these up here. I'm just kind of doing it. And while my furnaces are going, I'm simply just going to clear some land. I need a few more resources for field snacks and scarecrows. I'm also thinking about the first day of summer, which is tomorrow, when I can finally start planting my blueberries. The best way to lay them out, in accordance with their sprinklers and scarecrows, and managing to do it all within the time and energy limits I have. I think if tomorrow I simply buy as many blueberries as I can afford, or as many as I can water, I should say, then I can start planting them. I don't need to water them tomorrow because they'll still have time by the end of summer to get their maximum number of harvests, so I don't need to waste time and energy watering because the sprinklers will start on that the next day anyway. I feel like I was just rambling on there. Hopefully that made sense to anyone who's listening. I should also really be thinking about the best layout for all my sprinklers and scarecrows, so maybe that's what I can spend some of this day doing. Well, everything that I can smelt is now in the oven, so I'm out of things I can make. So I'm going to start making some scarecrows and sprinklers and see how many I'm left with. So using up all my bars, I've made 71 quality sprinklers. Obviously not the 114 I originally wanted, but still not too bad. That should water a lot of blueberries, so that's a big step in the right direction. I've also made about 10 scarecrows in total now, so I'm going to lay everything out and see how it looks. Okay, so after getting really frustrated and restarting the day, I've refocused and put all my effort into my field layout. This is the result. I've moved all my furnaces up to the top corner there. I've laid all my sprinklers out in a fancy inefficient grid pattern and surrounded them with too many scarecrows, but that's the best I can do considering how tired I am. I think it should all work pretty well. If not, it should be pretty hilarious when it fails. So there are a total of 71 sprinklers, which can water 568 blueberries. So tomorrow I'm going to plant all those. In the meantime, I'm going to make some fertilizer. You make that out of 2 saps. I think I have some of that left over. And I'm maybe going to clear some more field tonight too for extra resources. It's just about 11 o'clock. My field is all nicely laid out, so I'm just going to call it a night and be excited about my blueberry adventure tomorrow. I don't think I made any money at all today. Oh, I sold some of my fire quartz. I forgot about that. For a massive 850 gold. So, it's the first of summer, the big day we've all been waiting for. Luckily, I didn't lose any sprinklers overnight. That was one of my concerns from the new weeds that popped up. So I'm just going to spend the morning hoeing as much as I can until the store opens, and then go buy my blueberries and then plant those bad boys. Okay, I've already caught my first mistake. I shouldn't have put sprinklers this far over because I can't plant to the right side of them. Not a big deal. Luckily I caught it before it became a big problem. And my old strawberry crop, of course, remains hoed and even watered, so those blueberries will grow at a slightly different pace than the rest of them, which isn't bad because that will free up more time for other things. Okay, it's after 9:30 already, so I'm headed to the store to buy my blueberries. So here they are. I believe I said I need 568 of them, and there are 568 blueberry seeds, of which I can fertilize 124. I had lots of money for all the seeds, it's just the sprinklers I ran out of. So I think my strategy for planting them is simply going to be hoe till I'm out of energy, and then lay down some fertilizer and seeds, because at that point I don't need any energy to lay the fertilizer and seeds. And as long as I have them all planted by tomorrow, then it should be okay. I'll get the maximum number of harvests. Okay, I'm just about out of energy, so I'm going to take a few minutes to plant all my seeds. Okay, it's 4 p.m. I've run out of fertilizer and planted all the blueberry seeds so far, so I'm going to fill myself back up with energy and then continue hoeing and planting. Okay, it's just before midnight. I've got most of these planted. They'll all be nicely watered in the morning and then start growing themselves. The last 113 I'm going to plant tomorrow, and I think I'm going to have to water them manually to get the number of harvests I need. So I'm just going to call it a night and we'll see what tomorrow brings. So the 2nd of summer. The first few watered blueberries are already starting to grow. Most of the seeds are now watered, and I'm going to plant and water the last few. It is 9:50 and I have an interesting problem. I have 2 seeds left over, so somewhere in this maze there's 2 empty spaces. I see one of them now and I'm still missing one. I'm going to search for it while I water to try and save myself some time. It seems my math worked out, the number of seeds I needed in comparison to my sprinklers. So that means I can do something right at least. I can't seem to find that missing spot anywhere. Perhaps my math was wrong, or there's a sprinkler being blocked by something I'm just not seeing? Maybe someone would be kind enough to point it out in the comment section, because I can't seem to find it and I'm not going to spend a lot of time looking for it. It's 1 blueberry. I think with the remainder of my day and what energy I'll have left, I'm going to go back down into the mine and try and get to level 100. And I believe that is where the power berry thing is to give me more energy. I think that will be very helpful for me in the coming month. And while I'm down there, I can also hope to find some ore and maybe even some more mushrooms. I noticed someone in a comment section said they have something of a pattern. I can't remember what it was, but there is something of a detectable pattern to the mushroom level, so I might look into that. Also, I'm not entirely sure if I need to be watering these seeds today. I can't remember if they need to be watered by the 3rd or the 4th to get the maximum number of harvests, but I'm erring on the side of caution and I'm just too lazy to look it up right now. Anyways, it is just before 3 p.m. and all my blueberries are planted and watered. 568 of them, that's about half of the amount I originally was aiming for. So yeah, some of them are fertilized, so they'll be worth a little bit more, so that works in my favor as well. I won't need to make up a whole lot of money, but I will need to make up some. Anyways, 3:20 p.m. and I'm heading straight to the mine to hopefully get 5, maybe even 10 levels. I don't have a whole lot of energy, but I do still have lots of the salmon berries, so I should be able to make do. So, level 95, I only need to get on another 5 levels to get to my whatever it's called that gives me more energy. I can't think of its name right now. Starfruit. It's called a starfruit. And of course, on the day when I'm only trying to get down 5 levels, I've hit the longest floor in recorded history. I feel like I've smashed 1,000 rocks. There's the ladder. I probably could just harvest the mushroom level for the rest of this month to make up the money, but that's just not really that interesting. And finally, here is floor 100. And my precious starfruit. And that's that. Okay, it's just after 10 p.m. I got lots of ore and my precious starfruit, so I'm going to head back to the farm and continue smelting because I still want more sprinklers. And I'm taking the long way because, well, I forgot and took the wrong way, but I'm going to pretend I didn't because I'm looking for things to forage. And I found no forageable goods. I feel like such a failure today, I don't even know what to do with myself. Good news everyone, I just found my missing blueberry seed. It is right here below me. Thank God for that, now I don't feel like a failure anymore. Now that all my seeds are planted, all my furnaces are going and all my crap's in the bin, I'm going to bed. Basically made no money this day, but that's okay, got all my blueberries planted and that was my main goal. Okay, that's going to be it for this episode. As you can see, everything's coming along nicely. I finally have some blueberries down, so that's just easy money from here on out. Hope this episode wasn't too painful. I am really tired. I actually didn't even want to do this at all today because I figured it would just be a train wreck, and it kind of was. Hopefully it all turned out okay though. Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching.